The 1994 P. Kennedy half dollar is a circulating coin issued by the United States Mint as part of a long-running Kennedy half dollar series, which began in 1964 to honor the late President John F. Kennedy following his assassination in 1963. This specific coin, minted in Philadelphia as indicated by the P. Mint mark, carries significant historical, cultural, and numismatic importance, reflecting both mid-1990s American minting standards and the enduring legacy of Kennedy himself. The obverse front of the coin was designed by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time of Kennedy's death, and features a left-facing portrait of President Kennedy. This image was based on a presidential medal and was rapidly adapted for coinage to commemorate the fallen leader. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions Liberty, above, In God We Trust on the lower field, and the year of issue, 1994, at the bottom. The obverse design remains largely unchanged since its introduction, symbolizing national reverence and a desire to preserve Kennedy's image as a unifying figure in American history. The reverse, back, of the coin was designed by Frank Asparo, another prominent U.S. Mint engraver, and showcases the presidential seal, an eagle with a shield on its chest, clutching arrows and an olive branch in its talons, with a ring of 50 stars representing the states. Around the edge are the words United States of America and the denomination half dollar. This symbolic imagery emphasizes national strength, peace, and unity. The 1994 P. Kennedy half dollar is made from a copper-nickel clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to an inner core of pure copper. This clad composition had replaced the original 90% silver alloy after 1970, reflecting a broader trend toward cost efficiency and metal conservation in U.S. coinage. The total weight of the coin is 11.34 grams, with a diameter of 30.6 millimeters and a reeded edge. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 23 million of these coins in 1994, which was a typical mintage for circulation in the earlier years of the series. However, as public demand for half dollars in daily transactions declined, these coins were increasingly distributed through banks or included in mint-issued sets rather than being used by the general public. While not considered rare, the 1994 P half dollar is still of interest to collectors, especially in uncirculated MS condition or in proof sets, which feature specially struck coins with mirror-like finishes. Some collectors seek out high-grade examples certified by services such as PeaceGS or NGC, where grades of MS 65 or higher can command modest premiums. There are no widely known errors for this specific year, but coins with off-center strikes, die clashes, or double dies, if found, could be of interest to error collectors. The Kennedy half dollar as a series holds sentimental value and historical weight far beyond its monetary denomination. For many Americans, especially those who lived through the turbulent 1960s, this coin represents a tribute to the ideals of progress, youth, and optimism embodied by President Kennedy. By 1994, the coin had already been in circulation for 30 years, and its continued issuance reaffirmed the public's lasting connection to his memory. Moreover, the early 1990s in the United States were marked by post-Cold War optimism, economic restructuring, and the early years of the Clinton administration, all part of a shifting political and cultural landscape. In this context, the Kennedy half dollar served as a visual anchor to a revered past president during a time of change and reflection. In sum, the 1994 P. Kennedy half dollar is a historically rooted, symbolically rich, and enduring piece of American coinage. While it may not command high numismatic value in circulated condition, its cultural significance and place within the broader Kennedy half dollar series ensure its continued interest among collectors and history enthusiasts alike. Whether kept as a memento of a beloved leader, a relic of 1990s coinage, or part of a complete Kennedy series collection, the 1994 P half dollar embodies the timeless fusion of art, politics, and public memory in American numismatics. Next top. The 1985 P. Kennedy half dollar, bearing the inscriptions United States of America, Liberty, half dollar, and the date 1985 with a P mint mark is a notable piece of modern American coinage steeped in historical significance, patriotic symbolism, and numismatic interest. This coin belongs to the long-running Kennedy half-dollar series, first minted in 1964 to honor the 35th President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, following his assassination in November 1963. Designed by Chief Engraver Gilroy Roberts, obverse, and Frank Gasparo, reverse, the coin continues to be a staple of U.S. coinage, though its usage in daily commerce has significantly diminished since the early 1980s. The obverse of the 1985 half-dollar features a left-facing portrait of President Kennedy, strong-jawed and dignified, surrounded by the word liberty arching above his head, with the motto, "In God We Trust," inscribed across the lower field, split by the truncation of his bust. Just beneath the neckline lies the date 1985, with a small P mint mark to the right of the truncation, indicating it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Notably, this was the first year since 1981 that the Philadelphia Mint used the P mint mark on half-dollars, since mint marks had been temporarily removed from circulating coins between 1965 and 1967 and weren't consistently used on all denominations until the 1980s. The reverse of the coin displays the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle with a shield on its chest, grasping an olive branch in its right talon, and a bundle of 13 arrows in its left, symbolizing the nation's commitment to peace and readiness for war. Above the eagle's head, a ring of stars encircles its outstretched wings, representing the original 13 colonies, and a scroll bearing the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, floats above. The inscriptions United States of America and half-dollar are boldly engraved around the outer rim. The design is a powerful embodiment of American unity, strength, and the ideals for which Kennedy stood. The coin's reeded edge and substantial size, 30.6 millimeters diameter and weighing 11.34 grams, give it a stately presence, though it is composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, a copper core sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a composition used since 1971. When silver was completely removed from circulating half-dollars due to rising bullion prices and economic constraints. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 18 million Kennedy half-dollars in 1985, a relatively modest figure compared to earlier decades, which reflects the declining demand for the denomination in everyday commerce. By the mid-1980s, half-dollars were rarely used by the general public, and most coins were produced for collectors, banks, or special rolls. Despite being intended as circulating currency, many of these coins were set aside in original bank rolls or collector albums, and as a result, high-grade examples remain relatively common today. However, finding a circulated 1985 P. Kennedy half-dollar in excellent condition can still appeal to numismatists, especially those seeking MS-65 or higher specimens for registry sets. While the coin has minimal intrinsic value beyond face, it can hold collectible value depending on condition, eye appeal, and die varieties. Certain errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or clipped planchets, though rare, can add significant premium for advanced collectors. Culturally, the Kennedy half-dollar continues to serve as a poignant tribute to one of America's most iconic leaders, embodying ideals of progress, patriotism, and youthful optimism. Even decades after JFK's presidency, the coin's presence evokes a sense of nostalgia and national reverence. Though largely absent from pocket change today, the Kennedy half remains a ceremonial coin, often seen in commemorative sets, U.S. mint products, and used by magicians, vending machines, or casinos more often than in regular transactions. The 1985 P. Kennedy half-dollar stands at the intersection of history and modernity, a circulating next hop. The 1977 United States half-dollar, commonly referred to as the 1977 Kennedy half-dollar, is a historically and culturally significant coin that continues to draw interest from collectors, historians, and numismatists alike. This coin belongs to the broader Kennedy half-dollar series, first introduced in 1964 to honor the memory of President John F. Kennedy, who was tragically assassinated in November 1963. His sudden death shocked the nation, and almost immediately, calls arose to commemorate his legacy on U.S. currency. As a result, the half-dollar denomination was selected for this purpose due to its prominence and wide use at the time. The 1977 issue, struck more than a decade after the coin's debut, still retained the key features of the original design but had evolved in composition and mintage circumstances. The obverse front of the 1977 half-dollar showcases the left-facing bust of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, the former chief engraver of the United States Mint. The word liberty arches above his head, symbolizing the American ideal of freedom, while "In God We Trust" appears below his chin, split to the left and right sides. The date, 1977, is centered at the bottom of the coin, marking the year of issue. A mint mark, either D for Denver or no mark for Philadelphia, can be found just above the 7 in the date on the right side, identifying the minting location. On the reverse side, designed by Frank Asparo, the coin features the presidential seal, a majestic heraldic eagle with a shield on its chest, clutching an olive branch in one talon, and a bundle of arrows in the other, symbolizing America's desire for peace but readiness for war. The eagle is surrounded by 50 stars representing the 50 states, with the inscription, United States of America, above and $half below. This emblematic reverse imagery reinforces national strength, unity, and resilience. In terms of composition, the 1977 half-dollar was no longer made of silver, unlike its 1964 predecessor, which contained 90% silver. From 1971 onwards, all circulating Kennedy half-dollars were struck in copper-nickel clad, which consists of an outer layer of copper-nickel alloy bonded to a core of pure copper, making it more economical for mass production. The 1977 version weighed 11.34 grams, measured 30.6 millimeters in diameter, and had a reeded edge, consistent with other coins in the series post-1971. The mintage for 1977 was relatively high, with over 43 million coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and more than 31 million at the Denver Mint, marked with a D, showing that it was a common circulation coin intended for widespread use. There were also proof versions minted in San Francisco, but none were issued for general circulation. Despite their abundance, Kennedy half-dollars were falling out of common use in everyday transactions by the late 1970s, with many Americans choosing to save or collect them rather than spend them, especially due to their commemorative connection to a beloved president. As such, many examples survive in excellent condition, and while circulated pieces generally hold only face value, those in mint state, MS, grades can fetch modest premiums among collectors. Especially pristine or uncirculated examples graded MS65 and above are more desirable, while proof coins from this year are collected for their mirror-like surfaces and sharp detail. A few minor die varieties and errors, such as doubling or off-center strikes, also exist and can increase a coin's value if authenticated. Historically, the 1977 Kennedy half-dollar is emblematic of the post-Vietnam, post-Watergate era of American life, when the country was redefining itself amid political upheaval and economic uncertainty. Though minted during the presidency of Jimmy Carter, the coin's design is a powerful reminder of Kennedy's enduring legacy and the hope he once inspired. The decision to retain his image for so long on a major denomination reflects the nation's deep respect for his leadership and ideals. Even today, these coins remain a poignant symbol of 20th century American history. For collectors, the 1977 issue is not rare but remains an essential part of a full Kennedy half-dollar collection, especially when seeking examples in high grade or assembling a date and mint-mark set. Its enduring design, combined with its connection to a pivotal figure in American history, ensures the 1977 half-dollar holds not just monetary, but historical and emotional value for those who study or collect U.S. coinage next top. The 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar is a fascinating coin from a significant era in American numismatic and political history. This coin, minted in Denver in 1973, carries the D mint mark just below the truncation of John F. Kennedy's neck on the obverse. It is part of the Kennedy half-dollar series that began in 1964, introduced only a few months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22, 1963. The outpouring of public grief prompted swift legislative and numismatic action to honor Kennedy's legacy, resulting in the replacement of the Franklin half-dollar with this new design. The obverse of the coin, sculpted by Gilroy Roberts, features a left-facing bust of President Kennedy with the inscriptions Liberty arching above and the phrase, "In God We Trust," placed below, separated by the date 1973. On the reverse, designed by Frank Asparo, is a modified version of the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle with a shield on its chest, clutching an olive branch in its right talon, and a bundle of arrows in its left, representing peace and military readiness. Above the eagle's head is a ring of 13 stars representing the original colonies, and above that, the national motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one. Encircling the image are the inscriptions, United States of America and half-dollar. Unlike earlier Kennedy half-dollars minted between 1965 and 1970, which were made of 40% silver, the 1973 D version is struck from a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving the coin its characteristic silver-gray appearance with a slight reddish tint on the edges. It weighs 11.34 grams, measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. Number 1973 Kennedy half-dollars were released into general circulation. They were only included in mint sets and proof sets, making them less common than earlier dates that were widely circulated. This restriction was due to the declining use of the half-dollar in daily commerce and the U.S. Mint's growing focus on providing collector products rather than coins for general use. The Denver Mint struck approximately 83,171,400 of these coins in 1973, reflecting both the high demand among collectors and the Mint's push to promote numismatic interest in modern coinage. Even though this number might seem high, many of these coins were preserved in mint sets and remain in higher grades today. Consequently, circulated examples hold minimal numismatic premium and are generally worth only their face value, whereas coins in uncirculated condition or in original government packaging can fetch slightly higher prices, especially if they are free of blemishes or exhibit full luster. High-grade examples, especially those certified MS 66 or MS 67 by grading services like PeaceGS or NGC, are valued among collectors and may command significantly higher prices, though such grades are relatively scarce. The 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar stands as a testament to a unique transitional period in U.S. coinage. By this time, silver had been fully phased out of regular coin production, except for special issues, and the half-dollar was already beginning to vanish from public use, hoarded or ignored by a public that increasingly favored smaller denominations or dollar bills. This coin also reflects changing collector dynamics in the early 1970s, when mint sets were growing in popularity and modern coinage began to be seriously pursued by hobbyists. While not particularly rare or valuable in average condition, the coin holds historic importance due to its association with JFK, its limited circulation, and its position in a period of significant change in U.S. numismatics. Additionally, the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar often sparks nostalgic memories among Americans who lived through the 1960s and 1970s. It serves as a physical reminder of President Kennedy's charisma and legacy, and of the ways in which coinage can be used to honor national figures. Collectors interested in assembling complete sets of Kennedy half-dollars consider the 1973 D an essential component, particularly because of its mint-only release status, making it slightly more desirable than common circulation strikes. Moreover, these coins are often included in educational sets and are used in discussions about American history, presidential tributes, and the evolution of coinage metals. In conclusion, while the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar is not a rare coin in the absolute sense, its collector-only release, historical association, and iconic design elevate it beyond its face value. It is a snapshot of American culture, politics, and minting technology in the early 1970s, still widely available, but rich in meaning and legacy for those who choose to study or collect it. Whether preserved in a mint set, found in a collection, or viewed as a historical artifact, it continues to echo the memory of one of America's most beloved presidents and the changing face of U.S. coinage in the modern era. Next top.